Hello and welcome to another political dialogue program. We're going to have a very important guest today from Italy, Dr. Federico Venturini from Udine University. We will talk about the isolation of Mr. Abdullah Ocalan as well as the importance of Freedom for Öcalan, also the campaign that still is on since 10th of October, the global campaign Freedom for Öcalan, political solution for Kurdish Question campaign. And thanks for joining us today. Hello, dear Federico. Thanks for accepting that important interview, first of all.
Hello everyone, and thank you for the invitation. It is a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you, Dr. Federico. So as I mentioned, we will talk about today with you the isolation on Öcalan, also the global campaign about freedom for Öcalan and political solution for Kurdish question. So let's start with the first question, that what do you think about Abdullah Öcalan's ideas for bringing peace to the Middle East, first of all?
Yeah, I think that you said right. Abdullah Ocalan is a very key figure, not only for the Kurdish movement, for the Kurdish question, but for the whole Middle East, for different reasons. I think that his suggestion to go beyond the nation state and to try to find a solution where all the different communities can live together in peace and harmony, and try to develop a new relation with nature and a new form of economy based not on exploitation, is something that not only the Kurdish can look at, but all the population in the Middle East and even beyond. So it's very important as a solution for the Kurdish population that is divided in 4 different nation states, but at the same time it can be a solution for all the Middle East. Let's think about what is happening between Israel and Palestine, or other situations in the Middle East, but also worldwide. So his ideas are very revolutionary and inspiring everywhere.
Thank you, Federico. As you mentioned, the Gaza, the Palestine and Israel conflict, as well as the Russia-Ukraine conflict, still is on, and but the Kurdish conflict, Kurdish question is stayed under little of these conflicts' shadow these days. So the campaign, as I mentioned, started on the 10th of October globally from 74 different points of the world. It's a global campaign to free Öcalan and find a political solution for Kurdish question. So what is the importance of the campaign for freedom for Öcalan?
Well, Abdullah Ocalan is not just a thinker that managed to develop new ideas in his confinement on the Imrali Island, but is also a key political figure for the Kurdish population, and is a symbol as well. So if we really want to have a solution, if we want to really have peace, we need to have him on the peace table to discuss with all the different actors involved. So because he's a key negotiator, he cannot be held in prison. This is something that is clear not only for the Kurdish population, but also for the Turkish state. So keeping him on Imrali is sending a very key message to all the world that at the moment the Turkish state doesn't want to proceed further with peace talk. So working towards his freedom is important, not only to free a person, a thinker, but to free and to open the possibility of a peace dialogue between the Kurdish population and the Turkish state.
Thank you. So can we say that to have a political solution for Kurdish question and bring sustainability, peace to the Middle East, Öcalan has a key role? Can we say that?
Yeah, well, absolutely, absolutely. And we can just consider the messages that he managed to send from inside the prison, how they were so profound and so effective with the Kurdish on the Kurdish question and for the Kurdish population. Even behind the bars, in complete isolation, he managed to send very important messages abroad, inside Turkey, when that was allowed, of course. So if we think about his power, about the power of his ideas in prison, we can only imagine his role outside in Raleigh, and let's think how he can develop a solution for the Kurdish question. So yeah, he's definitely a key player, and working towards his liberation is really, really important at this moment.
Thank you, Dr. Federico. As you remember, there has been peace dialogues on 2013, but these peace dialogues has been ended up by the AKP government in Turkey. So I would like to ask you, what was their significance? Because these peace dialogues has been held in between Turkish government as well as with Öcalan. And as you mentioned, Öcalan has a key role to bring peace. So what was the significance in that issue? Very shortly, that one, please.
Yeah, so I think that that moment was very important. We can see that it was a spring moment where all the possibilities were open. And it was very important because it was the first time in history, we can say, that there were serious talk about a peaceful discussion in order to solve the tension between the Turkish state and the Kurdish population, and the political project of assimilation of the Kurdish population. And it was very important. They reached a very important stage. There was the Domobrashi Agreement, where for the first time in the history of the Turkish Republic, it was acknowledged the existence of the Kurdish population, and there was acknowledgement of the necessity to solve the issue. So it was very important, but then everything after fell apart. And that, I do agree with you, that was the AKP role in abandon this peace negotiation. And it was a shame, and we really need to push the Turkish state to go back to the peace table again.
Thank you, Dr. Federico. Also, another issue, the isolation, the harsh isolation still continues on Mr. Öcalan. And what is your concerns about the treatment that Mr. Öcalan is facing now? And do you think this is against human rights? Because as you know, the Europe and its constitutions, such as CPT, which is it's a presentation of the torture committee of the Europe, as well as European Council, also European Parliament. When it comes to the human rights and democracy, and also the prisoners' rights, they sell themselves very well. But when it comes to Kurds and Mr. Öcalan, which he is facing harsh isolation, last 35 months he hasn't seen his lawyers or family, nothing has been heard from him. So do you think this is against human rights, and what is your call to EU and Turkey to break this isolation, which is known as one of the worst tortures?
Yeah, I think that the treatment that is receiving is torture, is a very deep violation of his human rights. And it's not something that I am saying lightly, but has been written by the CPT and other international organizations that the privation of access to lawyers or to the family, impossibility to speak with the outside world, means torture. And it has been acknowledged by the CPT that Ocalan is living in absolute isolation. So yeah, the situation on Imrali, not only for Ocalan, but also for the other inmates, the Kurdish inmates that are living on the island, can be linked to a very deep violation of human rights. And it's necessary that European institution or international institution really speak up about what is happening there and push Turkey in order to modify its behaviors. I think that it's also the responsibility of European states and European institutions that at the moment are not doing anything at all, and that is giving a free hand to the Turkish state to behave in a very authoritarian manner on this issue.
Thank you, Doctor. Also would like to ask you about the Kurdish question. That's one of the main topic in the Middle East. So how important is to bring a political solution to Kurdish question in the Middle East? Do you think this will be an example for the whole world as well? As you know, Rojava example is one of the place that Mr. Öcalan's ideas has come to the life and as a democratic confederalism. So do you think with the Öcalan's and his ideas, if there is a political solution for the Kurdish question, that will be solve lots of the problems, lots of the questions in the world as well? How important is to bring peace to the Middle East with Öcalan's ideas?
Yeah, I deeply believe that Öcalan's ideas and democratic confederalism are key to bring peace not only to the Kurds, but in different situations all over the world. As I mentioned before, the idea of peaceful coexistence is important, and I think that all human beings would like to achieve that. But one of the key point, the innovative ideas, is that Öcalan is proposing also a roadmap and practical steps to achieve this. So what is developing in Rojava, in the Confederation of Northeast of Syria, is incredible. It's an incredible project because it's not just happening, but it's happening within a civil war, within the attacks of ISIS, within the attacks of Turkey as well. So Rojava is really a beacon of hope for the Kurdish population that can say what it means putting in place the idea of Öcalan, but it's also an inspiration for people that would like to change the current situation all over the world. So it's really an inspiration for all of us, I think.
Thank you, Dr. Federico. Lastly, would like to ask also, what is your support message to freedom for Öcalan and political solution for Kurdish question? Why Öcalan should be free, do you think, very shortly? And what is your freedom for Öcalan message from Italy?
Well, Italy has a responsibility in with Ocalan because when he left Syria, he tried to find, tried to be a refugee first in Greece and then in Italy. And in Italy, we refused, and we sent him. We tell him that Italy was not a good place. But at the same time, only a few months later that he was abducted in his trip in Kenya to South Africa, Italy granted asylum to Ocalan. So, and this situation is still valid now. So Ocalan is still a political, it has still a political asylum here in Italy. So it's also the responsibility of the Italian state government, and if not of them, for the Italians, like me, to work and to try to do our part in order to free him. So my message is that we know that the path will be long. We know that, as he said, that when there are many gains, the repression will be very hard. And what we have is only to persist because we saw that there are great developments if we manage to put in practice revolutionary ideas for the freedom, not only for an individual, but for a population like the Kurdish, or to free other ideas all over the world.
Thank you, Dr. Federico. Anything else you would like to add on? Anything I didn't ask about freedom for Öcalan as well as the political solution for Kurdish question, or anything you would like to add on that I didn't ask? Please have your last words.
Okay. Well, I think that the work that the Kurdish population is amazing, and so far the ideas have been little heard or discussed abroad, and this is a shame. And as you mentioned, what is happening with the Kurdish population has been overshadowed by other conflicts at the moment, like in Ukraine, Russia, Israel, Palestine. But we really need to speak up about what is happening there, because it's not just the isolation of Ocalan, but it's isolation of an entire population. The attacks on the Kurds are every day, from Turkey, from Iran, and people are dying. Attacks on the civil infrastructures are also a crime against humanity. So we really need to shed lights on what is happening on the Kurds, because on one side crimes are committed against them, and at the same time are a really inspiring example, as I said, a beacon of hope.
Thank you, Dr. Federico from Italy, Udine University. Thanks for joining us, and thank you for your valuable comments today.
Thanks to you.
Thank you. We came to another political dialogues program, and we had today Dr. Federico Venturini from Italy, Udine University. We talked about isolation of Mr. Öcalan, as well as the importance of freedom of Mr. Öcalan, and also the campaign, the global campaign, Freedom for Öcalan, political solution for Kurdish question. We will see you on the next political dialogue program.